Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel and my podcast. Today I'm here to tell you about lessons that I've learned in the first year as a full-time self-employed creative business owner and creative practitioner. Just kidding. So originally I did want to share with you all the lessons I learned in the first year of my creative business, but as I was editing the video, it became like so long, so I decided to cut it in 3 parts. So today, you're actually getting a video on how to not kill yourself over social media in running your creative business. So before we dive in, a little bit of self-intro, because I know most of you come here and this is probably one of the first videos you watch on my YouTube channel. So my name is Betty, and I run a full-time creative business that encompasses a few things. I do creative coaching for creatives one-on-one on growing their career and practice. I provide fundraising consulting services for small nonprofits, and I'm also a filmmaker and video maker. For the past decade, I always worked in the cultural and arts sector in Canada. I always had a job and the filmmaking practice as a parallel thing to my job. It wasn't until February 2022 that I successfully made that transition, running my full-time creative business on my own. And in this first year, I learned a ton about being on my own and running my multifaceted creative business. And that was the idea why I wanted to make this video series sharing my lessons and things that I've learned on my journey. So let's dive right into it. The first lesson I learned, how to not let social media kill you. If you've been running a creative practice for a while, chances are you have a social media account, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And over the last year's coaching, creative one-on-one, I've definitely heard a lot of anxiety that my clients and other creatives have over social media, especially with like different platforms changing their rules, changing their functions, and how algorithms work all the time. It's one of those areas that it becomes a bit of a rabbit hole if you're not careful falling the trap for it. And speaking from my own personal experience, I also fall for the trap. In my own journey, I started having a quote-unquote business account starting in June 2021. That was when I started having the idea of like serving creatives through a one-on-one coaching service, because I really didn't see that in the market there was something similar, especially in Canada where I am. So I started this account. Initially, like I was just really exploring and creating content for fun, and like really I thought I had a lot to say, and there was nobody really following me, so I just like put out a lot of stuff that really didn't care whether the content translated into business per se. And I also knew that I needed a bit of help in the initial stage, so I hired a marketing and coaching coach. And Cheryl Lau, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for your help in that, especially in the initial stage. It was a great boost for me to learn about that. Oh, I have something to say, and my thoughts and my contents are valuable and can help someone out there. So going through the exploratory phase was very exciting. And then I hit a point where I started falling into the trap of really looking at the numbers and the engagements and checking my Instagram all the time. I remember that point came when I created one piece of content called the 4 Archetypes of Creative Career. If you follow me for a while, then you know that piece of content for sure. It's today still one of my most popular posts on Instagram, and it articulates the 4 different types of career types of career shapes that creatives can have. I'm quite proud of it. It's quite original from my perspective. And I think that's why it resonated with a lot of people. That it was a good post and a good phenomenon in and of itself, but the side effect that it had on me was after that post and I saw so many people liking my content, I went, how can I replicate that success? What are the pattern in that post that I can replicate? And that was definitely not a healthy mindset. Trying to replicate the content just made me into the rabbit hole of creating content for the sake of attracting like and engagement. And that's not the point. More and more, I realized that as I was like chasing the number and checking my Instagram, I had this like kind of two-track awareness, like a meta awareness, if you can say, that there must be something more than here that's more important. And what I knew was that I have a very small Instagram following. After I launched the podcast in March 2022, my following on the podcast continues to be quite intimate and small. However, I still have a thriving practice. I still have clients inquire. I have relationships that I built with people that I come to know on the internet, and I really cherish each conversation that we have. So things are working, but they just don't necessarily work in a way that I became a viral internet sensation per se. What I learned, or the mindset shift that I experienced, is really social media is not a numbers game. It's much more of a relationship building place. And when you approach it from the mindset and the perspective that this is a great tool for me to build relationships with the people that share the same value or similar values with me, it's a powerful tool. And that's what I really double down on and hone in. Every conversations that I have on Instagram or my other social media platform has to mean something genuine to me that is beyond the likes and the engagement. I'm treating every relationship that I cultivate as a long-term relationship. And when I approach it from that angle, it stops mattering whether this person is going to hire me to make a video or engage me for a fundraising project or go on a discovery call with me. Because what I trust is that through social media, I'm connecting with people that share my values and understand the impact I want to create. And when I start tracking how each relationship translates into business, that's when things started to roll even more naturally. Yes, I've gotten opportunities from my Instagram business account. In fact, if you just purely look at the analytics, almost 80 to 90% of my coaching clients all interacted with my Instagram one way or the other. But they didn't come from, I like a post and then I'm going to book a call. It really came from the cultivation over a period of time, sometimes months or more than a year, some of them, that I cultivated those relationships with them without the agenda that this needs to be transactional. And I'm grateful for these people that I've gotten to met or known better through social media. So if you're a creative out there that is being anxious over your social media, the question that I want to ask you is, what is your strength when it comes to social media? Is it creating lots of content to attract a huge following? If that's it, then there's also no issue with that. Perhaps that is your strength and double down on that. What I notice is that there's a significant group of us that our strength is clearly not that creating viral content bunch. And if your strength is relationship building and one-on-one conversation, then I encourage you to just completely ditch that game of looking at numbers and really treat it as a powerful relationship building tool. Did you like today's video? If you do, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. You can also consume this content on my podcast. If you search Everyday Talent Podcast on pretty much any podcast platform you listen to, you find the podcast and find today's episode in an audio format, if that's the way that you prefer to consume. Also, don't forget to watch Lesson 2 and Lesson 3 of what I learned in the first year of running my creative business. If you want to find out what are they, there's only one way to find out. See you next time, YouTube.